Hello, I'm Bridget, and this is Making Sense of Math, Order of Operations. Oftentimes in math, we're given a problem with more than one operation. An operation being something that we do with numbers like adding or multiplying. As example, if we were given the problem 10 plus 8 divided by 2, there are two operations within this problem. We have the addition and we have the division. Depending on which operation we do first, we could end up with a very different answer. As example, if we did the 10 plus 8 first, 10 plus 8 is 18. We still have the divided by 2. And 18 divided by 2 is 9. Our answer would be 9. However, with the very same problem, if we had 10 plus 8 divided by 2, if we did the 8 divided by 2 first, 8 divided by 2 is 4. We would have 10 plus 4, and 10 plus 4 is 14. We ended up with two very different and not equal answers. So how do we go about solving a problem like this? Well, by using order of operations. Now, depending on where you grew up in the world, in the United States, we often use the acronym PEMDAS. However, if you grew up somewhere other than the United States, you might have used the acronym BODMAS. And these two acronyms, though they look different, are very much the same. What they represent, whether it be P or M, P stands for parentheses, and B stands for brackets. In either case, we're looking at grouping symbols, anything that groups numbers together. Our second line being either E for exponents, like 3 to the power of 2, or outside of the United States, O for order, like, well, still 3 to the power of 2 to the order of 2. That comes second. And then we have, well, in PEMDAS, we have M followed by D, and BODMAS, D followed by M. Either way, these letters represent multiplication and division, or division and multiplication. Which of these come first? Well, you might have also noticed that I've put the M and D, or the D and M, on the same line. That means they have the same weight or the same value when it comes to which comes first. And we do them in the order that we come to them in the problem as we read the problem left to right. So as we're reading a problem, if multiplication comes before division, then we do multiplication first, such as 3 times 2 divided by 6. However, if division came first, like 16 divided by 4 times 7, well, in this case, we would, because division came first as we read it left to right, we would do the division first. It does not matter that in PEMDAS or BODMAS, one letter comes before the other. It's the order in which they come in the problem, left to right. And by now you've probably figured out that A and S stand for addition and subtraction. And just like M and D, or D and M, they stay on the same line, they have the same weight. And we do these problems in the order they come to us as we read them left to right. If addition comes first, 3 plus 2 minus 6, we would do the addition first. If subtraction came first, 9 minus 5 plus 2, we would do the subtraction first, because as we read the problem left to right, subtraction came before addition. Again, they have the same weight, they're on the same line, and even though we read them as AS, addition does not have more importance than subtraction, other than when it comes before subtraction left to right. Also, you might have grown up hearing, like I did for PEMDAS, please excuse my dear Aunt Sally. This mnemonic helped me and might help you to remember the order of our operations. So let's give it a try. If we had as example, problem 5 plus 2 times within grouping symbols, 13 minus 5 times 2, well, now we have to figure out how to solve this problem using our order of operations, or BODMAS. We see that grouping symbols come first. So here we have these grouping symbols, these parentheses, and we have to do what comes within them before we do any other operations. Within the parentheses, we have two separate operations. We have subtraction and we have multiplication. Yes, this dot here represents multiplication. Later on, an X is going to mean something different, so we don't use X for multiplication anymore. Now, using our order of operations, we can see that multiplication and division come before addition and subtraction. So that's what we're going to do first, is this multiplication problem. So we will still have our 5 plus 2 times 13, and then we have negative 5 times 2. A negative times a positive is a negative. 5 times 2 is 10. Okay, we've got our first operation done, that multiplication within the parentheses, within the grouping symbols. There are still grouping symbols though, and there is still an operation within the grouping symbols, subtraction. So even though there's multiplication in our problem, because the subtraction comes within the grouping symbols, we're going to do that first. We're going to do this subtraction. So we have 5 plus 2 times, and 13 minus 10 is 3. Now you're going to say, well, there's still these grouping symbols, but within the grouping symbols, there are no operations that we can complete. There's just the 3. So what we have left are two separate operations. We have addition, and implied by these parentheses, we have the multiplication of 2 and 3. Multiplication and division, or division and multiplication, comes before addition and subtraction. So we're going to do this multiplication first. We have 5, and then we have a positive 2 times a positive 3, which will give us a positive 6. The only operation remaining to us is this addition. 5 plus 6 gives us 11. The proper answer for this problem, 5 plus 2 times 13 minus 5 times 2, is 11. Thank you. This has been Order of Operations, and I'm Bridget. See you next time on Making Sense of Math.